first meal of the day. And if we can try to get 30 to 40 grams of protein in that fasted state, so that first meal, again, it's so important for muscle synthesis, again, to keep those muscles strong and healthy, and stem cell production. And you know what I think when I back into this statement, because this is a statement that is kind of broadly advised for everybody. But again, we're here talking to us women with type 1 diabetes, and we also want to control blood sugar. Welcome to the Type 1 and Midlife podcast. My name is Melissa Slemp, a certified nutritional health coach and the founder and CEO of Abundant Health with Melissa, where I help women with type 1 diabetes to feel more empowered and live their best life despite their diagnosis. Each week, I will bring conversations and strategies from guest experts and my experience living with type 1 for over 40 years now. So if you're a woman ready to redefine how diabetes can look and feel for you, then the Type 1 and Midlife podcast is the show for you. Nothing you hear on this Type 1 and Midlife podcast should be a substitute for professional medical advice. Please always consult your doctor before changing your diet, insulin dosages, or healthcare plan. Well, hello and welcome. I hope your 2024 is going off without a hitch, right? One of those things that we hope for with all true intentions, new year, new intentions, new ideas. Well, I'm in here today by myself, and this is a solo episode. I'll be doing these bite-sized episodes just to fill you with some ideas and inspiration, things I'm working on, not only myself, but just topics that are coming to me with my clients and things like I was just saying, things I am personally working on, which brings me to today's topic, which is more protein and more strength. This is something that just keeps coming up. It's coming at me through questions, through client discussions, my own goals. These are things that I've always prioritized, or at least I thought I was prioritizing, but I'm seeing that both protein intake and maintaining my strength and really making sure that this is something that I am putting a plan around every day is going to continue to be important. And I'm here to share what that goal is, and not only for myself today, but some programs that I am building. And I actually have a workshop that's going on right now as I record this. It is Boost Your Time and Range using protein and strength training. And we've got a lot of amazing ladies in there learning and putting these action steps. Today, we're going to focus on protein. And the next episode that I'll come in here and share about this same sort of mission as women living with type 1 diabetes will be on the strength training portion. But today we're going to focus on the protein. So why is this important? You know, as a woman that, I've been living with type 1 for almost 42 years. April this year will be my 42nd anniversary, which is just completely crazy. I can't believe, number one, how time flies, but especially when you are living with the disease and the ups and downs and all that I've learned. Thank goodness I've learned some things. And that's why I do what I do and coach and pop on here and share all I can to help other women. But just the things that I've learned with insulin, right? And insulin sensitivity, and then hormones have shifted, and menopause really it was a train wreck with my own sensitivity around the insulin that I was on board with, and the routine I had for so long that was suddenly not working. So those are things I had to kind of take a step back and learn much more about. And as I always say, I'm learning just as much as you are. This is a journey for each and all of us. And today, and for the rest of really just the goals around my programs and this Type 1 and Midlife show is really about equipping you women, equipping us to make some really, steps that we can easily do. This is not about making it difficult or rule driven or anything like that. It's really just having a very simple approach to what's important, and to be able to put action steps around that we can get it done without feeling deprived or stressed, right? We don't want to add more stress to the bucket. We all know that's not a good thing. So just a brief overview too. This workshop that we are in right now, like I said, as we are recording this in early January, we are wrapping it up. The ladies that are in that 2-week session with me, I am going to be turning that workshop, which is now a free workshop, into a paid program. And the plan is to launch that in April. So just to let you know, if this topic and what we'll be talking about in a few more weeks on strength training, and there's going to be some other guests. I've got some other guests coming up that are going to be talking more and more about essential proteins and amino acids and strength training in details. A lot more information about really what that can look and feel like for us. I know we're busy. I know we have a lot of things we're juggling, but how can we get these things into our routine that is sustainable? So that's what we're going to continue to be doing throughout the year. This is a theme that we have going on. Have you ever heard the term, what's your word of the year? And it's funny, I didn't necessarily come up with one this year. But now I'm thinking about these topics and how this is just naturally becoming my mission this year. And it's really a part of that hope-filled life with diabetes. And maybe it's strength or stronger. Maybe that's my word of the day. I don't know. But protein and resistance training are both going to get us there. Women over 40 with type 1 diabetes who want to live and feel vital as we are aging with this disease. So let's start with, I want to start with, what is time and range? I mentioned that at the top of the show. And there's a lot of terms out there, as we all know, but basically time and range is that average glucose that, and of course, if we wear a CGM, and if you're lucky like me, you do have a continuous glucose monitor, that is such a gem that we can refer to and get that data. It's ongoing data. It's so amazing. I am so thankful for that every day. But what the time and range is showing us is the portion of time spent within a target glucose range. So obviously, this is different for everybody. Everybody's target lows or target low and target high range, that range, like for instance, mine is set at, I believe it's set at 80 and 180. So basically that's where I want to stay before, during, and after eating meals. So throughout the day and while we're sleeping, that's where that's our happy place. That's our safe place. And obviously after we eat, we're expected, our glucose is expected to rise, just like it does for everybody. You don't have to have diabetes to have a rise in blood sugar after you consume food and carbohydrates. But, to get it back to a range that makes us feel good. So that is our TIR, as the acronym says, the time and range. And another term that we hear is the GMI. So that stands for Glucose Management Indicator. So that's calculated using your average sensor glucose data. Again, that will come off of your CGM. You can also get this data with a glucometer. I know a lot of those are built with these reports and these systems kind of tied into their systems too. So that's definitely something to consider. And, this kind of reminds me too, I am connected, the type 1 and midlife community here is connected with the Honey Health Diabetes app. So I'm a contributor on there, and they have an amazing little thing. And it's little, but it's big because it's pretty amazing what it does. But it is the data, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to say this right. It's a data summary, basically, and it's showing you. So all you do is connect your CGM, and they're working on getting it connected with glucometers very, very soon. So you can just connect that through your phone. So again, these apps will talk to each other, and it's going to drive all that data into this reporting system. But it's really, really neat. Again, information is powerful too. If we can see our trends, seeing why and how we are going different directions throughout the day and what that variable is. So, like I was just saying, the GMI, that is one of the data tracking tools that is used on that app as well. And then the other term we hear is standard deviation, or you might see it written as SD, or coefficient variation, which is written as CV, obviously. So, and these are indicating the highs and the lows. So basically, that is how far we are deviating or going above or below that target range. So, and as we all know, we want to stay in our range. That is ideal. That is where we feel safe. That's where we have the most energy. That's when our body is functioning. That's when our brain is functioning. That's when hormones are optimized. So, the roller coaster is something we want to avoid. And that is a sign of a large variances in our glucose. So that's just a little information to kind of fill in the gaps here that we're talking about. Because, the protein, the increase in quality protein that we need, and adding in that resistance training, again, I'll be talking about that in more detail on a future podcast coming up soon. These are all feeding that A1C, that average glucose, which is something I know we're all just trying to keep an eye on, myself included. Well, I have some exciting news. Whether or not you are a subscriber now or you want to be, which I highly suggest, every Tuesday I pop into your inbox. And I have a slight twist this year with what I am providing my subscribers. So you get practical tips on keeping things sustainable, from your kitchen to the gym, plus some guided thoughts. And I sprinkle in some, obviously, those practical tips and lots of hope. And I draw inspiration right here from my podcast episodes. And as a coach and woman managing diabetes myself, my aim is to help you balance insulin sensitivity, your hormones, and your emotions living with type 1 diabetes. So, and your feedback that I've received really has inspired me to make this switch to be a little bit more laser focused on what I'm providing every one of my followers right here. So it's in the kitchen, discovering meal ideas, carb-friendly recipes, healthier swaps, ingredients, and supplements to support you. And then in the gym, and you don't have to belong to a gym to benefit from what I'll share, just motivation to create your own routines, just to really focus in on building muscles, to strengthen our bone health, and of course, enhancing our insulin sensitivity, right? And then finally, in your thoughts, I share reflections and ideas to inspire your journey and your relationships, and most importantly, your acceptance of this condition, because you know what? Our thoughts dictate our health. So if this sounds like something you want to be a part of, simply visit the link right here in the show notes and subscribe and join us. We hope to see you there. All right, so protein, it is key. You may not have ever heard this before, but it is key for managing diabetes, for managing blood sugar. Trust me on this. It helps us to preserve lean muscle. Again, we'll get into more on muscle soon, and bone density. Two things that we lose as we age and when we are low on protein. So it helps to keep us full. It's preventing sugar spikes because it does help with that balanced plate method that I love, and I know you love too. And it helps to curb cravings between meals. So those are all good pluses, right? So getting that protein in, making it a priority of a meal and or snack, or any time that you need to reach for something to eat, it is vital. So, and it includes many things. It's not just it's not just animal source. It's definitely some great plant-based proteins out there that you can consider. And, I'm going to give you some tips on some things that you can simply do to get started. And, I believe, and you can probably agree with me, it starts at the grocery store. It starts at the market. We've got to have the protein. We have to have a thought about what our days and weeks are going to look like with meals. And we have to have it on board. If we don't, we tend to miss it. And if we miss it, we get used to missing it. And then we forget that how important it is to add and to include in our meals. So stock your kitchen with a lot of these proteins that I'm going to mention here in just a minute. And, another big factor, and just to back up, because I think the common question that I get asked, especially my clients, they'll come to me, well, how much do I need? Generally speaking, and it does depend on our size and our weight and our activity and how much weights we are lifting. So the resistance training, definitely the more muscle we have and we want to maintain, we need the protein, those essential amino acids to help sustain and continue to build and grow those muscles. So the two work hand in hand. So 1 gram per pound is a general goal. And it could go up a little bit, and it could obviously, you could probably settle a little bit lower, but that's really the optimized amount that women need as far as total grams per day. So, and how about this? The first meal of the day, breakfast. It doesn't necessarily have to be called breakfast for you, but that first meal of the day, and if we can try to get 30 to 40 grams of protein in that fasted state, so that first meal, again, it's so important for muscle synthesis, again, to keep those muscles strong and healthy, and stem cell production. And what I think when I back into this statement, because this is a statement that is kind of broadly advised for everybody. But again, we're here talking to us women with type 1 diabetes, and we also want to control blood sugar. So I know that when I have a breakfast, for example, that is low in protein, that is not meeting that 30 to 40 grams, as a total, that is included with my protein, that is included with my breakfast. I'm hungrier earlier. My blood sugar does not stay as stable as it could if I had more protein included. And it sets you up, and again, I'm speaking from my own experience here, it sets you up really for a day where you're either chasing higher blood sugar, because again, you didn't start out at a good, strong, solid base of the day with our blood sugar, energy, satisfaction with what we did eat, and all of that. It's amazing how everything just kind of feeds off of one another. And I'm going to use that as a pun, because it is real important that what we eat and what we feed ourselves with does impact everything, doesn't it? Our concentration, our energy, even our sleep later on later on that night. It's so impactful. So to prioritize protein first thing in the morning. So again, they are recommending 30 to 40 grams of protein at a fasted state. Now, per meal we are asked to prioritize it, or to set a goal of 25 to 30 grams per meal. So when you add all this up, let's say you're eating 3 meals a day, and if you can set a goal of 30 grams, so every time that you make a plate of food, you have maybe if it's just something that you're eating in the middle of the afternoon, maybe it's a late lunch, whatever that looks like. I know days can be different, routine around food can be different, but it's really about being really centered about how important it is. So 100 grams per day is a safe minimum, that's a safe area. And I know a lot of us are saying, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot. But again, it's all about intention. It's about knowing your sources. It's about having it on hand. It's about prioritizing it with the meal, and to build your meals And I'm a big believer in vegetables, but to also build it around your protein source. And another thing to consider too, especially with that first meal of the day, is to get that fat in there as well. So that healthy fat source, again, that's going to help to blunt the absorption of the carbs, slow down that sugar spike. It's going to help us better predict blood sugar. It's going to help us keep that time in range a lot happier. And all of that just, it just keeps building on each other. So the goal, and this is something I'm going to, once I give you some ideas on some protein sources, is to set a goal, to start thinking as we're talking, and that, or I should say, as you're listening and I'm talking, how much protein do you expect you're getting? Maybe think of yesterday. If you're listening this in the middle of the day, it might not be a good time to consider all of that. But think about maybe what you had all day yesterday. And I have a resource too that I'm going to link here inside the show notes. It's going to give you some estimates of these different kinds of protein that I'm about to share. Some choices that you can have, some choices you can buy and have on hand, and even things to be mindful of when you're, say, eating out, or maybe you're at a friend's house for dinner, or whatever that occasion is, just so that you can recognize what is a good protein source when you're looking at it, and that that's a good thing to put on your plate and to include in your total for the day. So let's get into animal protein. We think of all of this tends to be pretty straightforward when it comes to animal protein. So we're talking about lean beef, chicken, eggs, turkey, fatty fish, things like tuna, salmon, shrimp, tilapia, flounder, grouper. Those are just some examples of some really good fatty fish that are, again, they are good protein sources, and they're also really good with they're loaded with the healthy fats and the essential fats that we also need. And as always, quality, quality, quality. So choose organic, choose grass-fed, wild-caught, and all of those terms. I know those terms can be loosely thrown around when we're looking at labels, but know where your food's coming from. Ask the market you're shopping at, where the food was sourced. If you're buying online, do your due diligence. And if you're still not sure, ask around. Maybe look for a referral on it that can help steer you to whether or not it's going to be a good source protein for you to buy and to consume. And some grab and go protein options. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not necessarily sitting at home when I have, if I'm out of the house a couple times during the day meeting clients, and I need things to maybe toss in my purse. And these are some ideas, or maybe not a purse. I just thought of one of them, which is hard-boiled egg. That might get smushed in the purse, but you know what I mean. You can keep that in a container safely and without the smush factor going on. But things like the beef or turkey sticks, again, the hard-boiled eggs. Collagen protein is another great source. So those are things that you can add into smoothies. You can add collagen protein into baked goods. That's another whole topic we can cover here one day, because I love to bake and add protein to my recipes as well. And bone broth. This is something that I'm really loving. I found a really good source, and it comes in a package form, a powdered package form, and you can just add hot water, boiling water, stir it up. And again, it's something you can take with you if you can get your hands on some hot water, or something maybe mid-afternoon, you need a little boost, and you know that you weren't as fulfilled in your protein goals so far that day. And that's an easy way to get it into your totals for the day. So let's go through plant-based protein sources. Now, these are things like tofu and quinoa and legumes and beans. And there's a lot of really good, if grains are something that you're eating, and I know I'm careful with the source of the grains and where they're coming from and how I prepare them. But those are some great ideas as well. You can kind of work that into your own balance plate. So things like beans, I mentioned this, tempeh, tofu, lentils, chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds. I love all those, especially on top of a salad or on top of some steamed or roasted vegetables, avocados. One whole avocado has 5 grams of protein. How about that? Edamame, again, look for good quality organic, and again, know your sources of all of these, especially the soy-based proteins. And things like cottage cheese, yogurt, and roasted chickpeas are pretty good too. But watch the carbs. Those definitely have some carbs mixed in. So understand your labels, understand what the totals are looking like for you, and make some really, there are some great choices out there. So have fun doing it, and definitely make it a priority. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into the collagen. Bone broth is so good. And again, I'm recording this in wintertime, so I need to get my own slow cooker out and get some bone broth cooked. But there are it's an easy thing to do. And that's something that you can actually get a really easy recipe on my website. So it's a collagen-rich bone broth recipe. Real easy to put together. It'll drive the dogs crazy. If you have animals in your house, the smell will drive them crazy, but it's going to satisfy you and your protein needs. But collagen is it's an amazing, dense and bone supporting protein source. And it acts like a scaffolding, as they say, and it binds minerals such as calcium and enhances muscle density, our flexibility, and our resistance to injury. So again, those are all things we need to be thinking about and focusing on as we age. So very, very important. So these are some great ideas and some ways to get you going. And what I would like to do is I would like to challenge you today. So you've heard some ideas, you've heard why protein is important, um, how much you need. So 1 gram per pound. So I'm about 118, 120 is my weight. So ideally I would need about 120 grams of protein per day to sustain my muscles, to continue to grow the muscles that I want to continue to be working on and lifting for. So those are just some points to consider. And if you're not sure what meal you want to start with, or if you think it's too much to do the whole day at once, I totally understand. Focus on that first meal of the day that I first mentioned. So let's start out what's going to have the biggest impact. Because not only is that going to increase, just like I was talking about the benefits of getting that protein in early, but it's going to set you up for success throughout the day. So let's say yay to that. I'm all about starting the day at a good blood sugar, feeling good, feeling confident, feeling happy about what I had for that first meal, and knowing that the rest of the day, I've got it kind of lined up to continue. The beginning is so impactful, how we start our day and our blood sugar. It's just, I don't know about you, but it's a game changer when I can stay steady as much as I can throughout the day, especially first thing in the morning. So yeah, that would be my goal for you. Think about that and consider that to start your breakfast, maybe tomorrow as you're listening this today, tomorrow. Think of some ideas that you can get more protein in with a minimum of 30 grams and maybe shoot for 40 grams. So somewhere between 30 to 40 grams of protein tomorrow morning for breakfast. I say, let's do it. And I also have some amazing recipes. So if you are interested in anything I shared today, and all of what I shared today, I have some great resources to support you on getting in more protein and getting those grams increased every day. So just reach out to me and look at the show notes here. I've got links attached with the resources, or send me a note. I love hearing from you. And let me know what you think about this topic. Is this something that you yourself know that you need to be focusing on? And maybe it is that missing link to better blood sugar control and more more, I'm all about things we can measure too. Measuring our protein is something we can put a handle on. It's something that's very measurable and attainable. Other habits are a little harder to do. I know that. And the resistance training that I'll be diving into here soon is it's going to speak to that same sort of philosophy too. When we can put a measuring thing around what we're trying to get to, putting it on the calendar with a workout, or putting it on whether or not you write down your meals or something that you're just referring to. For me, it's just looking in the fridge and knowing what's for dinner tonight. I'll say, oh, I'm going to take this frozen bison out of the freezer. And, I've got these vegetables ready to go for a saute, and this is going to be my meal tonight. So again, it's all about having a plan, feeling good about it, and watching the results and seeing how that time and range can become higher for you, and your A1C is going to feel a lot more in line for you. And number one, that you're feeling good at any stage of life. And I am here for you. So please reach out. I love to hear from you. The show is growing, and we have so many more topics and amazing guests coming this way in 2024. We're just getting started. And I will be, stay tuned. I'll be back in here on my next solo episode. And again, we're going to talk about resistance training and some routines around it, and how we can build some, again, those attainable goals, things that you can do, that you can feel confident about, because that's what we want to do here. And just learn how it's a non-negotiable. Lifting weights and feeling strong as we age it should be a non-negotiable. It is for me, and I want you to feel the same way and to see the results like I do. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please share. Again, the Type 1 and Midlife podcast is here for women that are looking for support, both, with the practical steps every day, but the emotional, and just feeling confident and sure of yourself and full of hope and joy and support. And I know it's tough. I live it too. And we are here. And please share this show with other women, because I know there's so many more that need to hear this and want to be part of this community. So reach out. I look forward to hearing from you. And until next week, bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Type 1 and Midlife podcast. Head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. And be sure to check us out at abundanthealthwithmelissa.com for our free resources. See you next week.